Hello Internet and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Jack, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the Mandela effect. So before we get into anything, we need to understand what the Mandela effect is. The Mandela effect is when a large population remembers a popular icon or event as being different, when in all actuality it wasn't. While doing research on the Mandela effect, I was curious to know on how the Mandela effect came into fruition. And to my surprise, it happened not too long ago after I was born. I found that the first use of the Mandela effect was done in 2009 by Fiona Broome when she created a website to document her observations of this phenomenon. So the story goes that when Broome was at a conference and talking to others about the former South African president Nelson Mandela's death in a South African prison, herself and many others at the conference remembered Nelson Mandela's death in a prison in the 1980s. However, this was not the case, and he passed away in 2013. Boone was so shocked by the revelation of so many people remembering a different event that she started her website on the matter and coined it the Mandela effect. So this is where the term Mandela effect comes from. So there are even more examples of the Mandela effect that I wanted to take a look at. And this is the whole reason why I wanted to make this video. Alright, so I am on the website that has 54 Mandela effect examples. So I'm going to go through some of them. I think the first one is about Nelson Mandela's death, which we already talked about. I use that as his whole death of people remembering him dying in a prison in the 1980s when he actually died in 2013. That's how the Mandela effect started and how the Mandela effect got its name. So we already knew about that one. And then the oops, I did it again headset. So this one, I heard this one in a podcast, so I kind of know a little bit about it. So apparently, when Britney Spears made her music video, she had a headset that came to a mic and was right in front of her mouth. And it was fairly obvious that you would see it. And the doll that was created about her from the video had the piece. It had the microphone piece with her. But apparently she just never had it. So that's kind of crazy. The GIF and not Jiffy. So it's actually GIF. But I'm pretty sure I remember having Jiffy and having some Jiffy peanut butter. Or maybe that's just a nickname that people would call Jiff. Who knows? But I definitely remember something that had Jiffy on the packaging. So Looney Tunes, this one was kind of crazy to me when I first saw this one, because it's actually Looney, Tunes, as in like music tunes. But because they're cartoon characters, you would almost assume that it would be spelled Toons, which is what I thought and definitely have seen before. I think this one is a fairly popular one. The Berenstein family didn't really exist. It's Berenstain, so instead of an E, it's an A. I definitely remember that this was a TV show on Treehouse. I just never really watched that show, so I can't really speak on that. Curious George, I can tell you, definitely did not have a tail, so I agree that Curious George has never had a tail, but I guess some people think that he did. Febreze has definitely had two E's at some point, because Febreze with only one E, it just kind of looks a little, it just doesn't look like, just doesn't look good. Febreze with two E's though, it looks like the company logo. So this Skechers one, I wish I would pay more attention, because every time that I see this, I'm like, man, I work with shoe boxes that say Skechers on them. Like, why don't I just look to see if it has a T? Because apparently Skechers doesn't have a T in between the E and the C. But if I was to write out Skechers, I'd be putting a T in it. So, like, this looks better than just Skechers. So I'm gonna try and next time I'm in at work, I'm gonna look at the Skechers shoebox if I remember, to see if it has a T or not. Fruit Loops, I definitely remember it being FROOT, because I remember having the box, and when I pull it out, I would remember seeing the four Fruit Loops on there. So I remember this one, but some people remember it as just like the regular version on how you spell fruit. The Monopoly Man, currently he doesn't have a monocle, and I don't think he ever had a monocle. So some people thought that he did have a monocle, or remember him having a monocle. He might have had a monocle back in the day, but I don't remember him having a monocle at all. Pikachu's tail, 100%, I can tell you, it's not the one on the left. I do not remember him ever having a black tipped tail. I remember him having a little bit of brown at the beginning of his tail, but nothing on the tail. Because I even have a little Pikachu figure, and the only part that's a different color, the only color that's tipped black is his ears, and the only thing that's brown is the little thing on his tail. So, Kit Kat, I had a Kit Kat today, and you know what? I did not look at the packaging, but I remember it having the little dash. Without a dash, it kind of just doesn't look like Kit Kat. I remember it with a dash. I'll have to take a look. Fruit of the Loom, I remember there being a cornucopia. I remember having a package of underwear, and I remember that cornucopia being on there, and I don't know if it was on the underwear, but I remember it being on the packaging. But apparently there was never a cornucopia. Cheez-Its, I remember with a Z, 100%. It definitely had a Z at some point, whether they took that off or rebranded to just Cheez-It. I remember it being Cheez-Its, because I would always say Cheez-Its, because there was a Z. Apparently never had a Z, though. Double stuff, this just seems like it's a spelling error. The double stuff Oreos, the regular version to spell stuff is with two F's. Apparently, there was never an F. There was never two F's in double stuffed or Oreos. CPO has a silver leg. I remember him having a silver leg. Some people remember him being all gold. I remember that silver leg on him. Because I think there was even, I think I had a Lego figure of him, and the bottom right leg, half of it is gray, or silver. Flintstones has two T's. So that's probably, Flintstones is probably the correct spelling on how you spell it. But if you call it the Flynn Stones, that's where I think this Mandela effect comes from. Because if you pronounce it Flint Stones, like how it should be, then obviously you're going to spell it with two T's. But if you say Flintstones, which is how I used to say it, or still say it, I wouldn't put that first T in. So I think that's where that one comes from, the Flintstones. It just depends how you say it, is how you're going to write it. So the famous Star Wars line, Luke, I am your father, is actually, no, I am your father. But if we all go back and watch the movie, we're all definitely going to go, he says Luke, not, no, I am your father. So, I remember the Luke. I don't really think it says no, but if that's what it says, can't change it. So this one's a bit weird. From Snow White, Evil Witch says, mirror, mirror on the wall. That's what everyone thinks. But apparently, what she actually says is magic mirror on the wall, which I think is untrue. There's no way she says magic mirror, because I remember it being mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all. Like, that one's a bit, if that's really true and she says magic mirror, that's crazy to me. Like, that one's probably other than the Looney Tunes one, it's probably the most confusing and odd to me. Like, the ones that blew my mind the most, probably. Mickey Mouse's tail. So, I remember him with a tail. I've seen him with a tail in old and new shows, but I also feel like I've seen him without a tail. So, I think this one is true regardless on what you think, because I feel like he's had a tail, but he also hasn't had a tail at the same time in different shows and movies. Toto, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. That's definitely what most people say, and which I would agree with. But apparently it's Toto, I've a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore. And no, I did not butcher that. It literally says, Toto, I've a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore. Which doesn't seem like correct English to me. So I think we did a solid here and said, Toto, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. I think we've done the movie a solid there. And that's going to be it for all the Mandela effects from this article. If you guys want to take a look at that article, I'll put it in the description. But yeah, the one that I found to be the most crazy, other than the Looney Tunes one, which I was kind of surprised that it's actually tunes and not tune. It's tunes as in music and not tunes as in cartoons. But the other one that was really mind-blowing to me was the mirror, mirror on the wall, when it's actually magic mirror, because that one, I remember clearly it being mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all. Like, that one was the most crazy to me. So those were all the Mandela effects that I wanted to take a look at from the 54, because some of them I couldn't speak on. Some of them I have no idea, and I couldn't have an answer either because I haven't seen the movie, or it's just beyond my time. Like, if it's an older movie, I probably haven't watched it. And yeah, those were the Mandela effects, and how some people think it's one thing when really it's not. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was more of a research-based video because I was interested in the Mandela effect, obviously, because why else would I make the video? Yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, remember, work hard and stay humble. We'll see you in the next one. See ya.